Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace, and today we are going to study the chapter tenses. So before I proceed, I would like to know from you, or you just think over it, what is the difference between time and tense? So don't get tensed by this question. I'll answer the question for you. Time and tense, what's the difference? Suppose we are saying, I am going to cinema tonight. I am going to cinema tonight. So what's the time in this sentence? The time is nearest future. Tonight means nearest future. And what's the tense? Am going, which is present continuous. So that's a basic understanding of difference between time and tense. That tense is something which represents the action, and time is the actual moment when the event is going to take place. Time is the moment when the event is going to take place, and tense is the representation of the time, representation of the action basically, not the time, representation of the action. So let us proceed and understand what are our learning objectives for today. We are going to study tenses, past, present and future tenses, rules related to tenses, exercises based on tenses, and 12 high frequency words which we generally do. Moving ahead, students, let us understand what is the introduction of tenses. What are tenses basically? So, verbs come in three tenses: past, present and future. Past means something which has happened, present is something which happens every day or is happening now, is present, and future is something which is probably going to take place, which will happen, which is not in our control. Even past is not under our control, but it has passed away. And present is something which is in our hands, and future is something which will take place, which is not in our hands. It's something futuristic. We can only imagine, or it's something planned. That's known as future tense. The present tense is used to describe things that are happening right now or happen generally or every day. Those are represented by the present tense. Clear? The present tense is something which represents an action that is happening right now or which happens every day regularly. This is known as the present tense. The past tense is used to describe things that have already happened. Example, earlier in the day, yesterday, last week, 3 years ago, in 1996, in 1984. Those actions, those events are represented by the past tense. You've understood the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense describes things that are yet to happen. Yet to happen means later tomorrow, next week, next year, 3 years from now, next Sunday, this way. Again, the past tense, the present tense and the future tense. These are representations of the action, how they are written, how they are said, how they are represented. Clear? They are representations of the action or events. Clear? So moving ahead. Present simple. So when we understand that there is a tense called present tense, it can further be divided into 4 parts. First is present simple, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. These are the 4 subdivisions of the present tense. Similarly, the past tense is subdivided into 4 segments, which is simple past, past continuous, past perfect continuous. And future tense can be written in simple future, future continuous, future perfect and future perfect continuous. Clear? So, the structure of a sentence written in present simple is subject plus root form of the verb plus object. What is the root form? V1 and V5. Let us understand what is V1 and V5. Basically, a verb can be written in 5 forms: V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. These are the 5 forms of the verb. V1 is go, V2 is went, V3 is gone, V4 is going and V5 is goes. So root forms of the verbs are this and this, V1 and V5. So simple present is written in either in V1 or in V5. This is the representation of simple present. So when we say subject plus root form of the verb plus object, in that case root form of the verb means V1 or V5. Clear? In present simple sentences, number and person of the subject play a very important role, because if we say children like chocolates, the child likes chocolates. Children like means plural subject, the verb becomes a plural verb. He plays soccer, they play soccer. So, if the subject is singular number, third person, add s or es at the end of the verb. For example, as I said, he plays, she goes, s or es. But when the subject is plural, we simply write the root form of the verb, that is go, play, eat, laugh, drink, teach, all these verbs. Fine, all these forms of verbs. For example, I play hockey, it's an exception. Although I is singular, but we use the plural form of the verb. So, if you ask why this exception, well, when I say I play hockey, I plays hockey is something which is incorrect in grammatically and syntactic structure. There is no specific reason for that. This is how grammar has been designed. But if we go by the logic, we cannot say I plays, because we always talk about third person singular or a person who is in the third person. For example, Raman, Raj, Rekha. These are third person singular. So we use, and if we are talking about ourselves, we take the plural form of the verb. I play, I am. I is an exception. That's why we say I am happy. We don't say I are or I is happy. But if we talk about he, we say he goes to school. We don't say he go to school. So this is how we write the present simple tense. He goes to school, I play cricket, they play hockey. This is how we write. Okay. Moving ahead. Uses of present simple tense. Use of present simple tense. Well, rule 1. To express a habitual action. Habitual means something which is in habit, custom, practice, repeated action, etc. All these are the uses, like to represent a habitual action, a custom, a practice, a repeated action, etc. We use the simple present tense. For example, it rains in winter in Tamil Nadu. It rains in winter. Rains. Rains means simple present V5, as I told you earlier. He occasionally visits temple. Occasionally visits temple. So this is a part of his, not habit, but a kind of ritual we can say, or kind of custom practice. Or it rains in winter. It's a kind of truth you can say. So what happens is, sometimes a truth, a general or a universal truth is written in simple present. For example, if you talk about habitual action, my father goes for a walk every day. My father goes for a walk every day. This is how simple present is written. Clear? Moving ahead to second use, that is rule number 2, to express universal or eternal truths. What is a universal truth? That can never change. The sun rises in the east, the sun sets in the west. These are universal truths. The moon revolves around the earth. This is the universal truth. So 2 and 2 make 4. It's always true. True on any planet, anywhere in the world. 2 and 2 will always make 4. It will never make 5. Salt dissolves in water. Kind of universal truth. Salt is soluble in water. It's a truth, so it is written in simple present. Clear? Moving ahead to rule number 3. In exclamatory sentences beginning with here and there, when a sentence starts with here and there, then to express what is actually taking place in the present, we use the simple present. For example, here comes the bus, there she goes, here she comes, there goes the bell. In these sentences, we use simple present if the sentence starts with here or there and ends in exclamation mark. Ends in exclamation mark. We use the simple present tense. Clear? Students, before I proceed, I'll also like to tell you about tenses. I'm going to tell you some very good tips for today. At the end of the session, I'll tell you some tips which can, if implemented, will make you very strong in the tenses chapter. You'll never make any errors in that. Okay? Okay, moving ahead. Rule number 4. To indicate a future event that is part of a plan or an arrangement. That's a part of a plan or an arrangement. We write the sentence in the simple present, which is indicate a future event. For example, the Prime Minister comes to the town tomorrow. Okay, comes to the town. So the time is future, but the tense is simple present. So present tense, future time. That's what the difference of time and tense that I mentioned earlier, right? The Indian team goes to England this month. The Indian team goes to England this month. Moving ahead, rule number 5, with whenever and when. Okay, whenever is something which represents the frequency of an action. For example, whenever it rains, the roof leaks. When he comes here, he brings fruits. So this represents, these two words represent frequency of an action or an event that takes place. So we write the sentences in present simple. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead, rule number 6. When the main verb is in the future tense, use present simple in conditional clauses, beginning with if, till, as soon as, when, unless, before, until, even if, in case, and as. Let us understand this. When the main verb is in the future tense, for example, I shall not go to the market if it rains. So this is the independent clause. This is the independent clause and this is the dependent clause. It is the conditional clause. So in the conditional clause, the sentence is written in simple present if the main clause is in future tense. So how do we understand? Generally what happens, the conditional clause is preceded by if, in case, until, till, as soon as. So in these cases, the conditional clause is always written in present tense. Need not be in present simple only. I'll tell you what, this is an exception. Although something is written and I'm saying something else, but let me tell you that the conditional clause is written in present simple most of the times, sometimes in present continuous, sometimes in present perfect. Unless he works hard, he will not pass. So this is the main clause written in future tense and the conditional clause is written in simple present. This is simple future, this is in simple present. Let me tell you one thing. If I have to say something like, comma, you will pass. So this is the main clause, you will pass. So if I have to write like, if you work hard, please forgive me for this you, I have written in SMS format or WhatsApp format. If you work hard, you will pass. This is correct sentence because with if we use simple present. Okay, we can also write this sentence like, if you have worked hard, present perfect. If you have worked hard, you will pass. If you are working hard, you will pass. So the point is, the conditional clause must be in present tense. Must be in present tense. Most of you must be wondering, how come this is possible? We have learned that the main clause is always written, the conditional clause is always written in present simple. It's not like that. Sometimes in present perfect. You just think over it. If you have worked hard, you will pass. This is correct. No, it's not wrong, right? If you are working hard, you will pass. 100% correct. So the conditional clause must be in present tense. Most of the times in present simple because a truth is attached to that or a condition is attached to that. Conditions are generally in present tense, present simple most of the times, but in special cases when something is happening now, if you're working hard, you'll pass the exam. Get your point? Okay, moving ahead. Rule number 7, to introduce quotations. To introduce quotations. What is quotation? Quotation is something which has been said by some famous person. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Gita says, give your best and do not worry for the results. It's not about a girl called Gita, it's Bhagavad Gita which says, give your best and do not worry about the results. Worry for the results. Pope says, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So it's true, it's a quotation, right? Because if you have a little knowledge which is not complete, it's bound to be dangerous, right? If you have no knowledge, then ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss means if you do not know something, that's not at all dangerous because you're not aware of that thing. You don't have knowledge about that thing. If you know everything, then also it's not dangerous. But if you know a little, that's really dangerous. Clear? So moving ahead to rule number, to past simple. What is past simple? We have discussed present simple and its uses. Now we'll discuss simple past or past indefinite. Well, the structure is subject plus V2 plus object. What is V2? As I told you earlier, go, went or do, did. So these words are basically V2 or simple past for that matter. So use of past simple tense. Rule 1, to indicate an action completed in the past at a definite time. So when do we use past tense or simple past for that matter? An event that has already taken place in past, a historical event. For example, India got independence in 1947. Got, G-O-T, which is the past tense of get. Get, got, getting, gets. So got is the simple past. So if we say to indicate an action completed in the past at a definite time, definite point of time is denoted by ago, since, ever, since, last, yesterday, the other day, before, after, back, formerly, any fixed time in the past, etc. Any fixed time in the past, etc. For example, in 1996, last Sunday, 3 years ago, we use the simple past for that matter. Clear? Example, I completed the work. Here it's not mentioned when it was done, but it's for example, if I say I completed the work this morning. This morning. This morning means the morning that has passed away. Since it's in the evening that we're talking about. I did this work in morning. I completed this work in this morning. So this sentence will be in simple past. Clear? Moving ahead. Rule number 2. To indicate past habits indicated generally by the following words. Past habits like often, seldom, never, usually, normally, generally, always, frequently, rarely, daily, used to, would, etc. Would. This is very important. As a kid, I often went to school on foot. So with adverbs of frequency, what are adverbs of frequency? Those adverbs that represent how many times an action took place. So with these adverbs, we would use simple past. Clear? So as a kid, I often went to school on foot. My friend frequently visited his hometown in the past. So first tip of the day, I'll give you 3-4 tips. First tip of the day would be, if you have to write a past habitual action, we can write like, suppose a student writes, I went to the park every day. So this is incorrect. If you have to say every day, which is a habitual action, I would say I would go to the park every day. This is a special tip I am giving you. So to represent a habitual action in the past, we can use would go, would plus V1. I went to the park every day, that is not a correct usage of grammar to represent a simple past. Clear? Simple past means habitual action for that matter. My friend frequently visited his hometown in the past. So this is adverb of frequency. So we can use simple past. But to represent habitual action in the past, we would use would plus go, would plus do, would plus wait. I would wait for my friend on the bus stand every day. At the bus stand every day. I would wait for my friend at the bus stand every day. Clear? Moving ahead to rule number 3. Past simple is also used when two actions happen simultaneously with each other. For example, as the president entered the hall, the orchestra played the national anthem. As the president entered the hall, the orchestra played the national anthem. So both these actions were simultaneously. The president was entering and the orchestra started playing. So both are simultaneous actions. Simultaneous means happening parallelly at the same time. As the chief guest entered the hall, all stood up. Apollo was worshipped as long as the Roman Empire lasted. Apollo was worshipped as long as the Roman Empire lasted. Both are simple past because both were simultaneous action. Although they are longer duration actions, but still we can use like that. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead to rule number 4. The use of past simple with wish, if only, as if, as though shows unreal past and present state of things. For example, I wish I were a millionaire. So basically, this is simple past, but this verb is in certain mood. What is a mood? Mood means basically there are three types of mood. One is indicative mood, imperative mood and subjunctive mood. A verb is in a certain mood as well. Mood means there's certain kind of mood in the verb. Strange, right? People have mood, but we are talking about verbs. So what is meaning of the subjunctive mood is something unrealistic, imaginary. I wish I were a bird. I wish I were an author. So if you say, I wish I were a millionaire, it means this word is in a subjunctive mood, which is again a part of simple past only. It means I'm not a millionaire. I wish I were a millionaire. It's just a wish, imaginary thing. Getting a point? Just imaginary. Okay. If only he allowed me to deliver a lecture. It means that he doesn't allow me. So it's in past subjunctive mood and it's simple past basically. Clear? Plus it's written as if, as though. I'll take examples of these. For example, he behaves as if he dash my boss. I've given dash because I'll give you options. Options can be number 1, was, is, were. So the answer is were. So as if is followed by were, which means past subjunctive mood, imaginary situation. Clear? He behaves as if he were my boss. Moving ahead. Rule 5. In conditional sentences, past indefinite is used with if. In conditional sentences, past indefinite, which means past simple, is used with if. If he tried to blackmail me, I would inform you. If I had some books, I would give them to you. If he was in our team, we would win the match. This way. So, in the above two sentences, the second form of the verb has been used. The second form of the verb has been used, which is tried. Therefore, they appear to be in past tense. In reality, the first sentence represents present tense and the second sentence represents future tense. Obviously, this represents the future tense and this represents the present tense, but it is written in simple past and the other part would plus V1. Clear? Moving ahead. Okay, now we will talk about simple future and its uses. So I'll give a tip, some tips also in between which are very important for you. So before we move to future tense, I'll give you one tip. The tip says, it is time, it is time, it is high time, and it is about time. It is time, it is high time, it is about time. These three expressions, if they are followed by plus subject, it is time I, it is time, high time you, it is about time she, then they are followed by simple past. This is tip for today, second tip. For example, it is time you started working hard. It's not the correct use like it is time you should start working hard. It is time you started working hard. It is high time you realized your mistake. It is about time he went home. This is the correct use. These three expressions I have told you. Next, to express an action that is still to take place, ordinarily shall is used with first person. So we are talking about simple future. Subject plus shall or will plus V1 plus object. This is the structure of simple future. Okay. With first person I and we use shall, and will is used with second person you and third person he, she, it, single name and plural names. So if we are talking about simple future, future is something which is going to take place in coming times, right? So if we are to use shall, we use with I and we, and if we are to use will, we will use it with third person, he, she, John, Jessica, Jeremy for that matter, and you also with you. But there is a special case. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is sometimes we can use shall with third persons also. For example, if you have to say You shall not enter my class again, which means I'm giving a threatening or a warning. So in cases of threatening or warning, we use shall with second person. He shall not repeat the mistake. Means he is threatened not to repeat the mistake. Clear? Okay. We shall have a party. We shall have a party, future tense. He will help us, future tense. Those actions which are going to take place in future. Correct? Moving ahead. Rule number 2. This tense expresses an action that is to take place in future. Words like soon, shortly, in a few moments, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year indicate future action. So these words like soon, shortly, in a few moments, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, these words are used with simple future. Example, he will go to Delhi next Monday. We shall play a match tomorrow. Let me tell you, sometimes for nearest future events, we use present continuous as well. For example, we are playing a match tomorrow. We can use that also. That is more permanent kind of commitment. We are going to play a match tomorrow, or we can also say he is going to Delhi next Monday. So nearest future events are written in present continuous as well. And if we talk about simple future, generally there are arrangements which probably might take place. There's a probability that they might take place, right? So with these words, we use the simple future. Clear? Moving ahead. Rule number 3. When the main verb is in the future tense, use present simple in conditional clauses beginning with if, till, as soon as, when, unless, before, until, even if, in case, and as. We know this already, right? We discussed that, for example, I shall go for the preparation when I shall receive the call letter. This is incorrect. I shall go for the preparation when I receive the call letter. So with the conditional clause, with the subordinate clause, it's also known as subordinate clause. Subordinate clause starts with a subordinate conjunction. And that part of the clause is written in simple present. And the independent clause is written in simple future. Which does not, for example, I shall go for the preparation when I receive the call. So this is condition. This is condition. And this particular event depends on this. So it will be in simple future because it depends on the second action, right? Understand? That's why it's written in simple future. And the subordinate clause is written in present simple. And this is written in simple future. Okay. When he arrives, the team will play the national anthem. When he arrives, the team will play. Understand this. If you run fast, you will win the race. If you study hard, you will pass the exam. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead. Now we are going to discuss present continuous tense. Subject plus is MR plus V1 plus ING plus object. So what is V1 plus ING? V4. Present participle. I am going to school. She is washing the car as we speak. I am not arguing with you. I am discussing the matter with you. So rule 1 is to express an action going on at the time of speaking. The action which is happening right now is written in present continuous. The action which is happening right now. For example, if I meet a guy called Arul and I ask him, what are you doing nowadays? So he will say, I am preparing for bank exams nowadays. But what are you doing now? Okay, I am brushing my teeth. So these two actions, what he is doing right now and what he is doing nowadays or these days, both are written in present continuous. So we are talking about the rule 1 which says what is going on at the time of speaking. So this way we can say to express an action going on at the time of speaking. Clear? Okay. Rule 1, we have understood the examples as well. She is washing the car as we speak, happening right now. I am not arguing with you, I am discussing the matter with you. This is happening right now, so we can write in present continuous. But those actions which are happening nowadays, these days, currently, presently, at the moment, at present, day by day, those are also written in present continuous. Clear? Moving ahead. Okay. Notice the following are the important adverbs of time showing present continuous tense. For example, now, always, at present, at this moment, all the time, continuously, continually, day by day, currently, at the moment. These words, these days, nowadays, these days, nowadays, these words are used with present continuous tense. Example, she is always walking in the class. I'm reading a novel at present. They are going to church now. Now the tip number 3 for the day. We know that with present simple, we use adverbs of frequency. Often, sometimes, always, occasionally, these words, right? But always, the word always, the word always is also used with present continuous. When the action is not liked by the speaker, when the speaker does not like the action. Got my point? So when I say, she is always chewing a gum in the class, he is always coming late, which means I do not like the action. The speaker does not like the action. In those cases, present continuous is used with always. That's the tip for the day, tip number 3. So this particular thing, she is always walking in the class, is not liked by the speaker. The speaker does not like this statement. Clear? Okay, moving ahead. Rule number 2. To express a temporary action which may not be actually happening at the time of speaking, an action which is happening these days. As I told you earlier, Arul was preparing for banking examination when I asked him, I am preparing for banking examinations. So that is which is happening these days. For example, I am preparing for the competition. He is writing a novel these days. These examples shows that these actions are not happening at the moment. They are happening at the time, at the contemporary times, in that particular zone, in that era, time zone or in that era. Okay. Rule number 3, it also represents future action or a definite arrangement in the nearest future. Present continuous also represents definite arrangement in the nearest future. For example, I'm going to cinema tonight. My first example. So, I'm going to Mumbai tomorrow. He is coming tonight. These are examples of events that are going to take place in nearest future, known as present continuous tense in nearest future. Clear? Planned arrangement in nearest future. Moving ahead. So moving ahead, students, let us see the rule number 4. When the reference is to a particular obstinate habit, we use the present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is used instead of present simple tense. Okay, what happens is there are certain words like an adverb of frequency like always, constantly, forever, etc. When the speaker does not like the statement, although the adverb is adverb of frequency, we use the present continuous tense. When the speaker does not like the statement, means references to a particular obstinate habit. Obstinate means stubborn habit. When a person is obstinate, means he is very stubborn. For example, it is no use scolding him. He is always doing. So this is wrong option. He is always doing what is forbidden. So we will use the term he is always doing. They are constantly disturbing us. 100%. This statement is not liked by the speaker. It's an obstinate habit. Clear? Okay, moving ahead. Rule 1. We are just going to discuss the past continuous tense and its uses. So rule 1. To denote a continuous action sometimes in the past, we use the past continuous tense. Example, he was listening to the radio all day. He was listening to the radio all day. She was weeping bitterly. So past continuous is used to denote a continuous action in the past most of the times. Rule number 2 says, used in making polite enquiries. Past continuous is used to make polite enquiries. I was wondering if you could help me. I was wondering if you could help me. This is a kind of polite inquiry. We are using past continuous in this particular case. Clear? Moving ahead. Okay, now we will discuss future continuous and its uses. To represent a continuous action at some time in the future, we use the future continuous. So, after this particular slide, or maybe after the next one, we will discuss some tips which I am going to give you again. So, rule 1 says to represent the continuous action at the sometime in the future. Example, the guests will be arriving any time from now. The guests will be arriving anytime from now. We are using to represent a continuous action at some time in the future. We use the future continuous. For example, for future events that are planned, for any future event that is planned, we can use future continuous as well. For example, he will be meeting us next month. I shall be seeing the president tonight. So next, let us move. We have understood two things for future continuous. To represent a continuous action at some time in the future, and for future events that are planned, we use the future continuous sometimes. Clear? So moving ahead. Now we are going to discuss the past perfect tense. So before I move ahead, I will discuss the tip number 4 for today, which is there's some structure in certain tenses, some structure in a sentence, I would say, in which there is one action in simple, and one action is in perfect. So when I say in a sentence there is one action in simple and when one action is in perfect, I mean to say simple past, past perfect in a particular sentence, both are there. Simple present, present perfect, both are there in the sentence. Simple future, simple present and future perfect, both are there in the sentence. So there must be one simple structure. Simple past, simple present and future perfect, past perfect and present perfect. There is no scope of simple future and future perfect. Because in any sentence there cannot be two wills, W-I-L-L, two wills cannot be there or two shalls cannot be there. One must be simple present if it is future and present. One must be simple past if it is past perfect. This is a structure which I am going to discuss now. So before that, that tip which we are going to discuss, we will discuss this past perfect tense. This is a tense used to talk about actions that were completed before some point in the past. This particular definition which says the action that were completed in some time in the past, this particular tip is related to that. This particular tip is related to this definition. So when we say past perfect tense, had plus past participle, had plus done, had plus gone, had plus created, had plus taught, had plus caught. Even if the subject is singular or plural, it doesn't affect the syntax. So when is past perfect used? Well, let us see in this example. In the case of Saint Namadev, he once chased a dog that had taken away the bread given to him by his wife, only to offer it the sugar and ghee as well, which it had left behind. So Saint Namadev was someone who ran behind a dog just to offer the sugar and ghee which the dog left while it was taking the bread away, or while it had taken the bread away for that matter. Fine. So let us move ahead, and with the tip which we discussed, let us elaborate more on that. But before that we are going to discuss the past perfect tense in detail. The past perfect continuous tense and the past perfect tense have certain combination with simple past, which I told you earlier. In any sentence there is one simple and one perfect, be it present perfect, simple present, future perfect, simple present, past perfect, simple past. So we are going to discuss that now. He found that someone picked his pocket. He found that someone picked his pocket. So this sentence is incorrect. I'll tell you why. There are two actions, found and picked. Which happened earlier? I found that someone picked my pocket. So 100% my pocket was picked earlier. Then I found that my pocket has been picked. My pocket was picked earlier and I found that someone picked my pocket. Then I realized or found that my pocket was picked. So for first action in this sentence, there are two verbs, verb number 1 and verb number 2. There are two verbs, and in this particular verb, the previous action is picked his pocket. And finding that someone picked his pocket is the second action, subsequent action. So this particular action will be written in past perfect, had picked. Had picked. He found that someone had picked his pocket, because the previous action must be written in past perfect, subsequent action, next action in simple past. This is according to the tip which I told you. Similar tip is applicable in past perfect continuous as well. The only thing is, the particular action which happened earlier or which had been happening earlier should be followed by a time duration. For example, the dog had been barking the whole night. The dog had been barking the whole night when the police arrived. So you understand, when the police arrived is the second action. he found, like he found, and the previous action is the dog had been barking, followed by a time duration, the whole night. One more example, I'll write here. He had been working for 3 hours when I reached there. So, had been working, previous action followed by a duration. When I reached there, simple past, the subsequent action. Get your point? Let us read this, what is written over here. The past perfect continuous tense shows that an action that started in the past continued up until another time in the past. Continued for a particular, till a particular moment and then stopped and a second action took place. Or an action that happened for a longer duration and ended in the past itself. Started in the past, continued and ended in the past. This is known as past perfect continuous. Okay, stating that he had been appearing regularly in court, Mr. Saxena said the accused had remained absent for no valid ground on previous occasions as well. So let us not take example of such a big sentence. I'll tell you, past perfect continuous, had plus been plus present participle, which is had been doing, had been laughing, had been writing, had been playing, had been running, had been swimming. These are the structures of past perfect continuous. These are followed by for, since, the whole day, all day. Let us discuss some examples. I'll just start speaking. He had been working for 3 hours when she arrived. The dog had been barking the whole night when the police came. She had been writing a letter when her sister called. They had been doing the work when the teacher came. These all are examples of past perfect continuous. Please understand. He had completed the work when I came is also correct. He had been doing the work when I came is also correct. But when I say he had completed the work, it means the duration should be mentioned over there. He had been doing the work for 1 hour when I came. Then it becomes had been doing the work. He had done the work when I came is also correct. He had been doing the work for 1 hour when I came is also correct. But had been doing should be followed by a duration. Then only can we expect to write past perfect continuous. Otherwise, past perfect. Clear? Previous action, next action. Previous action, next action. Previous action in past perfect, next action in simple past. Clear? Okay, moving ahead. Okay, now we'll discuss present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is used to indicate completed activities in the recent past or immediate past. Completed activities in the recent or immediate past. For example, have, has plus the past participle. For example, have done, has done, this way. The police have registered a case in the matter and role of guards is also being investigated. The police have registered. See, we have used have because police is considered plural. The police have registered a case in the matter and role of guards is also being investigated. So it is a recent kind of thing that has taken place. So the next tip for you will be after this slide, because after this I'll discuss more about the present perfect tense. Okay. The important thing to remember about the present perfect is that you can't use with an adverb which refers to past time which is finished. So if in a past time an event is finished, we cannot use the present perfect tense. For example, I have put away all the clothes to wash yesterday morning. This is incorrect. I have put away all the clothes to wash. So this is something, an action that was completed in the past cannot be written in present perfect tense. That is for sure. Okay. So the tip which I am going to discuss right now, there are certain verbs known as stative verbs like know, believe, belong, think, expect, decide, smell. Okay, no, we'll take the example of know or own for that matter, own. So if we have to say I have been owning this plot since 1996. This is incorrect. I have owned this plot since 1996. So, if in a sentence a stative verb is used, know, own, think, believe, expect, decide, and it is followed by for or since. So, for or since are followed by duration of time and point of time respectively. For the last 10 years, since 2011, this way, 2012. For 5 hours, since 8 o'clock. This way we use. Clear? So, for is followed by a duration, since is followed by a point of time. So, when we use for or since in a sentence and the verb is a stative verb. Stative means which cannot be made ing form. Knowing, I am knowing you. This is incorrect. I say I know you. I am owning this house. Incorrect. I own this house. This house belongs to me. This house is belonging to me is incorrect. So, with these stative verbs, we use present perfect if for or since are used in the sentence. He is away from school since August last is incorrect. He has been away from school since August last is correct. Clear? Okay. So, this is how we understand present perfect, which happened in the immediate past. An action that is happening in the immediate past, happened in the immediate past is written in present perfect. The present perfect continuous, okay, tense shows that something started in the past and is continuing at the present time as well. Something started in the past and is still going on is written in present perfect, continuous. So, present perfect kind of structure is has, have, been plus present participle, that is V4. Has been doing, has been laughing, has been completing, has been working, has been laughing, has been running, has been swimming, has been eating. So, understand this, there is a difference between present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous. I will show by gesticulation, by my hand movements. An action started in the past, continued and is still going on in the present is written in present perfect continuous. I have been staying in Chennai for the last 10 years. Clear? An action started in the past, continued and ended in the past itself is written in past perfect continuous. For example, I had been doing the work for 10 hours when she came. Clear? Okay. All the big names in technology have been taking stabs at making personal assistance better. All the big names in technology, means the big giants in technology, have been taking stabs at making personal assistance better. So they have been taking stabs. Stabs means pains in making personal assistance better. Okay. Words all day, for, since, how long. These all these words are used with present perfect continuous tense. Okay. So moving ahead, students. Use of present perfect progressive, which is present perfect continuous, of course, puts emphasis on the duration or course of an action. She has been writing exam for 2 hours. The duration is taken care of by present perfect continuous. Action that is still going on. I have been living in here since 2001. So I told you in present perfect continuous, since or for is used. Finished action that influenced the present. I have been working all afternoon. So this action which is finished influences the present. Okay. Moving ahead. The future perfect. The future perfect is a verb tense used for action that will be completed before some other point in the future. Okay. It is used to represent an action that will be completed before some other point in future. For example, the structure first will have plus past participle. It follows the same syntax when the subject of your sentence is singular or plural. Doesn't matter. The subject is singular or plural. The structure remains the same. Now, KAU certificate will have Aadhaar number and photo. Okay. In this particular sentence, you can see we are talking about present. We are talking about future perfect. Okay. So now KAU certificate will have Aadhaar number and photo. So in this sentence you see will plus have. This is simple future. If we want to convert it into future perfect, we shall read the last sentence first. By this time, from now, at, already, by the time, when, before, as soon as. In this, all these expressions, by this time, from now, at, already, by the time, when, before, as soon as, we use the subject, we use the sentence in future perfect. Prepositional phrases that often go with the future perfect are these. But this particular sentence has will have. But the structure of future perfect is will have done, will have completed, will have laughed, will have run, will have become, will have reached. This is the structure. So let us rectify this sentence. By now, we'll rectify this sentence. By now, KU certificates will have been attached to Aadhaar number and photo. How wonderful it is, right? By now, KU certificate will have been attached to Aadhaar number and photo. It means by this time, it will have been done. My father will have reached there by this time tomorrow. Clear? So this is future perfect for you. Clear? This was future simple, so we'll have converted it into future perfect. By now means by this time. KU certificates will have been attached to Aadhaar number and photo. Or by tomorrow or by evening. This is the correct use. By evening, now will be removed in that case. KU certificates will have been attached to Aadhaar number and photo. Clear? Moving ahead. Future perfect continuous is a verb tense that describes actions that will continue until a point of time in the future. For example, the structure will be will have been plus present participle. Will have been doing, will have been completing, will have been writing, will have been dancing, will have been eating, will have been playing. All these structures are of future perfect continuous. Example, when I turn 30, I will have been playing piano for 21 years. Or for that matter, he will have been working in the organization for the next 20 years. So what's the difference between tip number 5 for today? The difference between future continuous, future perfect continuous and future perfect. Okay, I'll tell you the difference. I'll give you one example and you'll understand the difference. So that will be the tip number 5. So I'll tell you the tip number 5. But before that, we have some rules like one must not use adverbs of past time like yesterday, last year, last month, ago, short while ago, etc. with present perfect tense. It's a rule. So use of since or for. So we should not use adverbs of past time like yesterday, last day, last night, last Monday, last year, last month, a short while ago, this way. We should not use with adverbs of, we should not use with these terms with present perfect tense. Not use with present perfect tense. It's a very good important learning. Use of since or for. For period of time, as I told you, since for point of time. Use of past continuous with when and while. When is usually used when an action is completed. So when must be followed by a completed action. While must be followed by a continuous action. I'll give an example. While I was entering the room, I got bitten by a snake. While I was entering the room, I got bitten by a snake. Another example can be, when I entered the room, I saw the slaves were sleeping. So when I entered the room means I had entered the room. While I was entering means the process while I was entering. So these do mean different. While I was writing, he was playing. So this way we can say while is followed by continuous action, when is followed by completed action. Again, the tip which I was going to tell you about, the difference between future continuous, past continuous and future perfect. Okay. So future continuous. Okay, I won't write. I will explain you. You please listen to it very carefully. You will understand. At this time next year or at this time in the evening, my dog will be waiting at the door. At this time in the evening, my dog will be waiting at the door, waiting for me at the door. Means future continuous is used for a particular continuous action at a particular point in future. A continuous action for a particular instant, at a particular time in the future. A continuous action at a particular point in the future. For example, at this time next year, I will be lying on a beach in Caribbean. Future continuous, future perfect. By next Monday, I will have completed the work. By next Monday, I will have completed the work. Means till that particular time, my job will be done. Getting a point? Now comes future perfect continuous. So, by the end of the next 20 years, I will have been working in this company. So I'll draw a diagram and explain you. When I say this is 20 years and I say my job will have been done by the end of 20 years. It means will have been done means future perfect. So we are talking about the start and the completion of the action. But when I say I will have been working in the company for the next 20 years means we are not talking about the start and end. We are talking about the event, the process, the journey. I will have been working. We are talking about that because tense is a representation of the event or the action, right? Please understand that. And future continuous, a particular moment in future at which the action will be continuing. Got my point? Let's move ahead and start the practice questions. Okay. If the signatures are illegible, the application will be rejected. Okay, since the sentence starts with present tense, we won't expect that will become would. So is there an option called would? Would rejected. Its option is rejected only. Could rejected, wrong. Should be rejected, one possible option. Will be rejected, wrong, because it should be will be rejected. So the question says will be rejected and the sentence is in present tense, so no chance of should be rejected. It should be if the signatures are illegible, the application will be rejected is the no correction required is the correct answer. Because if sentence is in present tense, the entire sentence can be in future or present. And this is structurally also correct, syntactically, because if is followed by present tense, the principal clause is written in future simple. Clear? Moving ahead. The West Point cadets were immaculate as they line up for inspection. Immaculate means pure and flawless. Flawless. So the West Point cadets were immaculate, were flawless as they lined up. Lined up as because it is, see, the West Point cadets were, it's past tense, right? So the entire sentence should be in past tense. So lined up will be the correct answer. A is the correct answer. So the rule is, the tip number 6 for today is, if a sentence starts with past tense, it ends in past tense. Throughout the sentence, it is past tense, whether past perfect, past continuous or simple past. Clear? So the West Point cadets were immaculate as they lined up for the inspection. So this is the correct answer. Next question number 3. The gnarled oak tree had been a landmark for years and has mentioned in several decades. Had been a landmark, past tense, past perfect. So, and had was mentioned should be the correct answer because it's talking about the gnarled oak tree. So, was mentioned is there or not? Yes, it is there. All other options are incorrect. Had been mentioned, we could have thought of telling that this is the answer, but that's not correct because it should be in passive voice. And already one past perfect has been used. So, it should be was mentioned. The sentence starts with past, so it cannot be present tense. It cannot be present perfect. So, it should be, and the gnarled oak tree had been a landmark for years and was mentioned in several deeds. Fine. Moving ahead. Question number 4. The Native American has been depicted as an impassive individual, undemonstrative and stoical. Okay. The Native American has been depicted as, depicted is correct, present perfect, has been passive voice, has been depicting would mean that the Native American has himself been depicting himself, which is incorrect. Somebody else has depicted him. So the Native American has been depicted means the passive voice. So depicting, depicts, depiction is all incorrect and no correction required is the correct answer. The Native American has been depicted as means he has been depicted as, passive voice of somebody depicting him has been depicted as. Clear? So no correction required. Question number 5. During the winter, many people were incapacitated. Were, so it should be V3. It is were, so it should be V3. Many people were incapacitated means the passive voice. Were incapacitated by respiratory elements means they caught respiratory ailments. So were incapacitated is the correct answer. All these are incorrect options. Fine. Moving ahead. Question number 6. See, you must have seen my approach. I always approach through grammatical structures, which makes my life easier. One clue and your problem is sorted out. You try to understand this. Although she was over 40, the movie star still insisted. Was past tense. Insisted should be the correct answer. So is there a word called insisted? This is the correct answer. See how I make your life so simple and my life simpler. Just by seeing that was is there, past tense. So entire sentence should be in past tense. So insist should be insisted. Clear? Question number 7. Your apology cannot atone for the irreparable damage you was did to her reputation. Cannot. Present tense, cannot present tense. So 100% present tense should be there. Has did is no structure. Had do is no structure. Has done or have done. So irreparable damage. Damage you. So the verb should be decided according to you. So you should be followed by have done. So this is answer A. You have done this, you have done that, you have troubled me, you have created problems. So you have done. To was did is incorrect, to her reputation. Clear? Moving ahead. As his case was transferred from one function to another, he began to despair of ever reaching a settlement. Began, past tense. As his case was transferred, was transferring, has transferred. See, the sentence is in past tense. Case is singular. So this is wrong, was transferring from one function to another. Okay. The case cannot transfer on its own, right? It must be transferred by someone. So it says no correction requires the correct answer, because as his case was transferred from one place to another. Case was transferring means the case itself was transferring itself. So that is incorrect, right? As his case was transferred from one place, passive voice. They were transferred. They transferred his case from one place to another. His case was transferred from one place to another. So the concept of active tip number 7 for today. I made a mistake. The mistake was made by me. They transferred his case was transferred by them. This way, as his case was transferred, was transferring is incorrect because the case was not transferring itself. The case was transferred by them. Okay. Moving ahead, question number 9. The captain ordered the sergeant to punish all malingerer and force them to maligner and force them to work. The captain ordered, because it's a past event, so it should be ordered. It has happened. The captain ordered the sergeant to punish all the malingerer and force them to work. This should be the correct answer. Ordered, past tense. Moving ahead, question number 10. The military police stopped the fracas in the bar and arrested the belligerents. Belligerent means the people who are ready to fight. Fracas means a fight or a kind of pandemonium situation. The military police stopped the fracas in the bar and arrested the belligerents. It is a past event because it's arrested is mentioned over here. So stop is wrong, stops is wrong, stopping is wrong, stopper is wrong. No correction required, the correct answer. Past event, past action, stopped is the correct option. Correct. Moving ahead. Knowing the importance of appearing resolute, the patriots dashed to present a monolithic front. Okay. Knowing the importance of appearing resolute. Resolute means decisive, quick in good decision making, good at decision making. Knowing the importance of appearing resolute, that they knew that the importance of being resolute was important. It was known by them that being resolute was important. The patriots means the people who love their country, who are martyrs, or patriots are people who are nationalists, they love their country. The patriots dashed to present a monolithic front. Sorted is incorrect because the correct form is like seek, sort. So sort is the correct answer. Seeking and seeks are not correct because the patriots seek to present a monolithic front, knowing the importance. It is something that has happened earlier because they know. It's an event that has been mentioned, so it should be sought. Seek. If there had been an option called seek, we could have changed the answer because patriots is plural, we could have written as seek. making it a general statement, but it's not a general statement, it has happened somewhere else. So we have written sought. Sought is the third form of simple past form of seek. Seek, sought, sought. S-O-U-G-H-T. Sorted is no form. Seeks is incorrect because its patriots is written. It should have been seek. Seeking is incorrect, structurally incorrect, syntactically incorrect. Next question. Why it is necessary to provide these fledgling poets with an opportunity? Fledgling means novices. Novices means tyro, new people. While it is necessary to provide these fledgling poets with an opportunity to present their work, it is not essential that we dash everything they write. It is not. Present tense, present tense. Present, it's a present tense. So sentence should be in present tense. Okay. We should be followed by plural verb. This is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong, this is correct. I'll tell you why. Because we is there, we need a plural verb. So admire is the plural verb which is correct. Clear? Okay. And admired is wrong. Admires is wrong because it's a singular verb. Admiring is structurally, syntactically wrong. Moving ahead. The editors dashed that certain passages in the book had to be past tense. The editors felt, feeling, feels, fell. Wrong, 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 right. Editors felt, feel, felt, felt. Editors is plural, felt is required because the sentence is in past tense. Clearly understood? Could, past tense. Can, could, has, had, past tense. So it should be felt. Next question number 14. The murkiness and fog of the waterfront that evening dashed me. That evening defines that the event has taken place. So it should be depressed me. This is present tense wrong, depresses present tense wrong, depressing wrong. So depressed is the correct answer. Clear? Very simple logic I'm telling you, trust me. Okay, moving ahead. Question number 15. All the eulogy. Eulogy means a lot of praise for someone. All the eulogy of his friends could not remove the sting of the calumny. Calumny means means being stiff-hearted or not being sensitive. That dash upon him by his enemies. Okay. All the eulogy of his friends could not remove the sting of the calumny. Calumny means being hard-hearted, insensitive. That dash upon by his enemies. So it means that was heaped upon. By his enemies. All the eulogy of his friends could not remove the sting of the calumny that dash upon him by his enemies. It should be none of the above. I'll tell you why. Because it should be passive voice, right? That was heaped upon by him. That was heaped upon him. Okay, wait. By his enemies. That was heaped upon him. The calumny that was heaped upon him by his enemies. Okay, heaps is incorrect because the sentence is past tense. Heaping is incorrect. Heap is incorrect because the sentence is in past tense. Heaped could have been the answer, that heaped upon him, but it should be passive voice. Was heaped upon him. Calumny was heaped upon him. So none of the above is the correct answer. Clear? It should be the calumny was heaped upon him. They heaped upon the calumny. So it should be passive voice, which is none of these is the correct answer. Okay, moving ahead. Question number 16. Several nomadic tribes of Indians would dash in this area each year. See, each year means habitual action in the past. So the verb should be V1, hunt. All the options are incorrect. Habitual action in the past, would plus V1. Would, hunt. Would is would is a modal auxiliary. It must be followed by a V1. Okay. Moving ahead. 17. The patient dashed the prescription given to him by his oculist to the optician. The patient dashed the prescription given to him by his oculist. So it's an event, it's a past action. The patient taking, take. Take is wrong. Take is wrong because the patient takes should be there. Took is the correct answer. Taking is structurally wrong. Patient was taking could have been the answer, but took is the correct answer. Take, took, taken. Clear? So this is the answer. The patient took the prescription. Moving ahead. The medley of hits was a pastiche of Johnny Cash's most dash songs. Most admired. Popularly is wrong. It's an adverb. Most is used for to represent a superlative degree adjective. So admired is an adjective, past participle in the form of participial adjective. So most accepted songs is not suitable, fit for the question, fit for the answer. So it should be most admired songs. Liked, it should have been liked, then it could have been the answer, but it's not like that. So it's like, it's incorrect option. So admired is the best option available. Clear? Moving ahead, question number 19. After this geyser erupts, it will dash quiescent for 24 hours. It will, so will is followed by V1. V1. So which option is V1? Only this option is V1. These all are incorrect options. It will remain quiescent for 24 hours. Fine. Question number 20. The refractory horse was dashed from the race. Was dashed. So it should be followed by V3. V3 is eliminated. Wrong. Wrong. So eliminated. The refractory horse was eliminated from the race when he refused to obey the jockey. So it should be eliminated. Correct answer. Moving ahead, students. Now common errors. Error spotting. The government also argued that these reactors would be is incorrect structure. B has an answer. Would bolster is the correct answer. Would bolster means to support, to boost. So bolster should be preceded by would. Would bean bolster is something which is incorrect. Would bolster will be the correct structure. The government also argued that these reactors would bolster global efforts to combat climate change. Clear? Next, while announcing its decision, the government claimed that these plants would generate more than 33,400 jobs in direct and indirect employment. While announcing its decision, this is correct because while is followed by continuous action. Its decision, the government claimed that, okay, that these plants would generate is correct because claimed is past tense. So it should be would is correct. Generate, would generate is correct. More than 33,400 jobs in direct and indirect employment. No error. Clear? Okay. The testing between the GSTN and the GSPs has not even starting till now. Has not even started. This should be the correct structure, students. I'll tell you why. Has not even, hasn't even. So V3 should be the correct structure. V3. Has been done, has been started. This should be the correct structure. Because that's the structure of passive of perfect tense. Present perfect tense. Clear? So error was in part D. C. Has not been started. Clear? Okay, moving ahead. Question number 4. India and France have hold informal discussion. This should be held. Very easy. Have held. Have plus V3. Not holded or not hold. Have held. So India and France have held informal discussions on nuclear deal as a follow-on contract. So error was in part A. Correct? The ED earlier arrested the lawyer, the bank manager and the entry operator under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay. The ED earlier arrested the lawyer, the bank manager and the entry operator under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. I think there is no error in this because we cannot use past perfect over here. The ED had earlier arrested, because if we use had earlier arrested, there should be a parallel simple past over here, which is not there. So I think there is no error in the equation. Let me check it once again. The ED had earlier arrested the lawyer, the bank manager and the entry operator under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Had earlier done. No, it's correct. No error because it's already in past tense. So one past tense is good enough. Arrested, one single tense, one single verb, arrested is good enough. If it was to be a past perfect, it should have had a parallel simple past, which is not there. Okay. The Communist Party of India on Tuesday condemned the killing of farmers in police fire in Mandsaur. In police firing, it should be firing. Police firing. The Communist Party of India on Tuesday condemned the killing of farmers in police firing in Mandsaur. So error is in part D. Got it? Police firing is the correct structure. Fire is a verb. We need to, after police, it should be another structure called ing form of verb, which is present participle. That should follow. Okay. Moving ahead. The judge had heard that the Saudi businessman between January and April 1996 has been gambled a total of 10 million. Has gambled. Okay, wait. Had heard, past perfect. The Saudi businessman between January and April 96 gambled, because it's past perfect, so it should be only gambled. Only gambled, simple past. A total of 10 million pounds. 10 million pounds. So it should be gambled. Has been should not be there. Okay. Next. According to tax experts, a crucial aspect included in the final notification is the exemption granted. Granted. Simple past. Exemption granted to taxpayers who have received shares in the course of employment. Is the exemption granted? Means exemption granted means it's an action that has already taken place. Clear? Fine. RBI has been prodding. Prodding means pushing. Had been prodding, pushing or forcing kind of thing. RBI has been prodding banks to enable monetary transmissions by lowering lending rates. So it should be prodding. Has been prodding the structure of present perfect continuous because RBI has been doing that. That's the basic motive of the sentence. Moving ahead, question number 10. More than 80% of the airline's passengers originating from India fly through Doha to onward destinations. More than 80% of the airline's passengers originating from India fly through Doha to onward destinations. No error. In 2016, the company had introduced, very easy, had is past perfect, had plus V3, so it should be V3, right? In 2016, the company had introduced the program for startups called DNA, Discover, Nurture and Align. So it should be had plus V3. So in 2016, the company had introduced, not had introduced, okay? On the possibility of the new product being sold in India, the duo said it would be next year. It would be next year. Would plus V1. So the V1 is here be. Now tip number 8 for today. Be is a word which is the first form of verb. Be has total many forms like be means is, am, are, was, were, been, being. So when we say would do, it is a form of do. Do, did, done, doing, does. But when we say be has many forms like is, was, were, am, are, been, being. So we are talking about be, the principal form of the verb. So would be is the correct answer. Been is a perfect form of be. Be, been and being the present participle. Clear? Moving ahead. Question number 13. As per the recommendations, validated by, because it's by the apex code. It's the agent is mentioned over here. So the recommendations are validated by, not validated by. So as per the recommendations validated by the apex code, only the men's selection committee can pick the coach. So this is the correct answer, validated. Clear? Error is in part B. Because this has already been done, right? Simple past action. And analysts say Apple is playing to its strength in the music industry. There's no error till now. Analysts said that Apple is playing. Okay, it's said. So it should be was. Error is in part A. Analysts say that Apple was playing it to its strength in the music industry by focusing. Okay, this is also wrong, I guess. Focusing on sound quality and its catalogs of song. So let me tell you. Analysts said Apple was playing to its strength in the music industry. So wait. It should be actually not. I'll wait. I'll do something. Just a moment, students. Okay. Analysts said Apple is playing. So it is fine. Is playing to its strength in the music industry by focusing on. It's a present participle that should be used on sound quality and its catalog of songs. So this error is in part C. This can be avoided because sometimes what happens, somebody said something which is applicable in nowadays also. So they said that Apple is doing something like this. So there's nothing wrong with that. DCP Milind confirmed that Mr. Panchal was called after the Delhi fire service allegedly failed to reaching the spot in time. DCP Milind confirmed that Mr. Panchal was called after the Delhi fire service. Okay. after Delhi Fire Service allegedly failed to reach is the correct form. Reach is the correct form. So DCP Milind confirmed that Mr. Panchal was called after the Delhi Fire Service allegedly failed to reach the spot in time. To reaching is not the correct structure. So this failed should be followed by infinitive 2 plus V1. To reach. 2 is generally followed by 2 plus V1. Okay. Moving ahead. Question number 16. The sequence of events, however, still remain unclear and the police haven't been able to determine how the boy managed to get inside the car. The sequence of events, however, still remain unclear. Sequence of events still remain unclear and the police haven't been able to determine how the boy managed to get inside the car. Sequence of events still remain unclear and the police haven't been able to. See, what is happening is this particular part B, entire part B is written in present tense. Still remain unclear and the police haven't been able to determine how the boy managed to get inside the car. Well, in this sentence, if you observe, we see the sequence of events, however, the action has already happened in the past. So we can say the sequence of events, however, still remain unclear. This is fine, no problem in that. And the police haven't been able to determine how the boy managed to get inside. No error, because in any case, present perfect can be followed by past simple. Because the past simple is managed. So it can be preceded by present perfect. Clear? 17. Students applying for BA courses will have to submit their forms between June 23 and July 1. Students applying for BA courses will have to submit. Will have to submit their forms between. No error in this again. Next. Rahul has rushed to Sanjay Gandhi Hospital where he was declared brought dead. Okay, this is 100% wrong. Something wrong is there with the sentence. Rahul has rushed to Sanjay Gandhi Hospital where he was declared brought dead. So there are two actions. He had been rushed and he was declared dead. So it should be had been rushed. Because he cannot rush on his own. He had been rushed to that place and he was declared dead. Brought dead. So had been rushed is the correct answer. Error in part A. I have told you this in tip that previous action past perfect, next action simple past. So had been done, had been reached, had been brought. So had been rushed in past perfect. Second action declared brought dead. Declared in simple past. Clear? Moving ahead. Question number 19. The police said that after being detained for questioning, Azam revealed the involvement of the other two accused. Accused. This is acting as accused means is a noun. Accused is a verb. Accused means accused people. So it should be accused. Clear? The other two accused means the two accused people. So error is in part D. Bittu, a carpenter in Rajiv Nagar, an unauthorized colony in the old city, said the power cuts had forced him and his family to sleep outside. Okay. Has forcing is incorrect structure. Had been forcing or had forced. Had forced would be better because there is no duration mentioned after this verb. Clear? So moving ahead, students. Now let us do some vocabulary. Okay. The first word is harbinger. Harbinger means forerunner. Somebody who, an ambassador for that matter, one who brings the news for something. So harbinger means forerunner or messenger. Harbinger means forerunner or messenger. Like the monsoon is a harbinger of prosperity. Fine. Impasse. Impasse means deadlock or a very difficult situation. Impasse means deadlock or a very difficult situation. Hoodwink. Hoodwink means to deceive someone, to make somebody a fool. Deception. So to make someone a fool or to deceive someone is known as hoodwink. Harbinger means messenger or forerunner. Impasse means deadlock or difficult situation. Hoodwink means to deceive someone. Next is gratis. Gratis means free of cost. For example, Antonio, it's an adverb. Yeah, remember, it's an adverb. Antonio lent money gratis. Means he gave money free of cost, free of interest. Grimace. Grimace is certainly like a expression of pain. Sometimes comical expression. For example, somebody smiles at you like this. This is grimace. When you are showing some pain on your face, with some comical expression. So this is grimace, showing an expression of pain, sometimes comical way of doing that. Inkling means hint. Inkling means hint of something, giving hint of something, or hint itself is inkling. Inscrutable. Inscrutable means something that is incomprehensible. You cannot understand it. It is incomprehensible. You are not able to understand, ascertain that fact is inscrutable. Innocuous means harmless. Very harmless person, one who cannot hurt anyone, very innocent, is known as innocuous. Impertinent means rude. Very rude person. Insolent, rude is impertinent. Incessant means continual, without stoppage. Continual without stoppage. Incessant. Indigent means very poor, penurious, without any money. And last word is inundate. Inundate means to get flooded by something. Like his fan mail was inundated by, his mailbox was inundated by fan mails. His mailbox was inundated by fan mails. I'll repeat the words for you. Inundate means flooded. Indigent means poor. Incessant means continual or non-stop. Impertinent means rude. Innocuous means harmless. Inscrutable means incomprehensible. Inkling means hint. Grimace means an expression of pain on your face, often humorous, often comical, not humorous. Gratis means free of cost. I've told you the use. Hoodwink is a verb which says to deceive someone. Please don't hoodwink me this way. Impasse means deadlock or a difficult situation. Harbinger means messenger or forerunner. So students, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Let us summarize today's sessions. We learned tenses, present, past and future tenses, rules related to tenses, exercises based on tenses, and 12 high frequency words. I hope you loved the session a lot. Thank you so much.
ஃபாரின்ல படிச்சாதான் பெரிய ஆளாக முடியும்னு இல்ல, நம்ம ஒரு வெராண்டால படிச்சாலே போதும். VerandaRace வங்கி மற்றும் அரசு தேர்வுகளுக்கான ஆன்லைன் பயிற்சி.